Everything I've ever done in my life, I didn't feel like doing it. Every single day, every task. I used to call myself lazy, but deep down I knew I could become one of the hardest working people to walk this earth. I realized early nobody's coming to save me. No one's coming to knock on my door and hand me success. It's just me against me, no excuses, no shortcuts. I had to step up and face every single fear in my life, no matter how small, no matter how terrifying. These fears haunted me. They kept me awake at night, and unless you've faced your demons, you'll never truly understand what that feels like. When I was 24, I had a choice. I could remain the 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches, earning barely enough to survive, knowing that at 50, I'd look back and regret the man I never became. Or I could bet everything on change. I could fail again, and keep failing until I succeeded. I knew I couldn't run forever. Someday, my body would give out. But while I still could move, I had to push. That's what willpower is, the fire that forces you to act, even when everything inside you wants to quit. And I built that fire every single day. We all have a voice in our head that tells us, you've done enough. You're fine where you are. That soft, comforting voice says, rest. It's okay. You deserve a break. That voice might sound like love, but it's also the voice that holds you back. And then there's another voice, the hard one, the honest one, the one we avoid. It says, you're falling short. You can do more. Most people shut that voice out completely. They live in comfort, ignoring the truth. But if you want real change, you have to listen. You have to turn up the volume on that voice. I'm not saying to tear yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth, because that truth lives in the uncomfortable part of your brain. That's where the remaining 80% of your potential hides. And in that 80%, you'll find struggle, pain, failure, self-doubt, and darkness. But also, that's where the light is. That's where your growth is. And most people never get there because the road to it is hard. Going through that struggle shows you who you are and who you're not. And that's not an easy thing to learn. It's not pretty. It's not fun. It's not once and done. I go through it all the time. And once you open that door inside yourself, you can't close it again. People ask me why I don't retire. I've already built this willpower. You think it just shuts off just because my knees ache or my legs feel tired? No way. Every morning I wake up and feel pain. But I can still move. So I move. One day I won't be able to, but today isn't that day. So I run. Deep inside, we all know this. We know that to get to that next level, we have to walk through discomfort. And most people decide to stay behind because the in-between part, the part from where you are to where you could be, is hard. It's heavy. It's lonely. That's why people don't change. People ask me, how do you do it? You already know how. It's not a secret. It's not magic. There's no shortcut. Everything I say is grounded in a basic, ancient mindset you just do. Like breathing. You don't overthink it. You don't ask why. You just do. When your alarm goes off at 4 or 5 a.m., your mind says no. But your actions say yes. This is what we do now. It's your new identity. It's your new rhythm. Because to get where you want to go, you're going to have to do 1,000 things you don't want to do. And that's the price. The trade-off. And once you've done it enough times, it becomes automatic. Like breathing. I didn't want to live this lifestyle, but to become the man I was meant to be, I had to embrace it. I had to redefine what trying means. I sat in a restaurant, spraying tables, living a life that didn't feel like mine. And I told myself, this is not going to be my future. I quit. I left my equipment right there in the restaurant and drove home. That day changed my life. I started training like someone possessed. I had to create someone new. Someone who didn't exist yet. A version of me who could withstand judgment. pain, cold, and humiliation, and still keep going. I had to become someone who could walk into a room full of critics and still stand tall. I built that version of me through relentless work, through storms, through sleepless nights. At 3 a.m, when it was raining or snowing, the easy option was to stay in bed. But I got up. Every time I wanted to avoid something difficult, I leaned into it. I made that choice again and again until I built a mind that wouldn't quit. I lost the weight. I went back to the recruiter. I got into Navy SEAL training, and I went through 3 hell weeks in 1 year. I failed the first, passed the next 2. No one else had done that. But that was just the beginning. I realized something huge. Your mind is your creation. If you believe in limits, they exist. If you break those beliefs, new doors appear. I started opening doors I didn't know were there. I found more potential than I ever imagined. And it changed me. I wasn't just David Goggins anymore. I became something else. People talk about discipline. Discipline is great. But if your mind is cluttered, it won't stick. Imagine overloading one single circuit with everything. It's going to fail. Your brain needs organization. If your mind is like a messy garage with no space to put anything, you can't find the tools you need when you need them. Motivation might show up sometimes, but without mental order, it won't last. That's why I meditate every night for 2 hours. I organize the garage. I clear the space. I make room for discipline, focus, drive. So when the morning comes, I'm not guessing, I'm ready. Why do people fall off their routines? Because their mind is overloaded. It might be stress, family, work, everything thrown together. If your brain is like a chaotic garage, you can't expect consistent discipline. You've got to build shelves, put things in order. Where's my drive? Right there. Where's my consistency? Right there. Everything has a place. When you live like that, life starts to click. You don't have to think so hard about doing what's right. You've already created the environment for it. And that's what most people miss. You don't become a disciplined person by luck. You build it piece by piece, brick by brick. And eventually, you look up and you've built something powerful. That's why I can still run at 50 with busted knees and a worn out body. Because my body still can. So I do. The moment I stop acting, my willpower fades. I refuse to let that happen. Everything I built came from facing pain, from doing the things I didn't want to do. Day after day. And now, it's just who I am.